Elite on the left, wdage on the right. The stakes, the atmosphere, the drama have never been higher.
Elite here, Los Angeles Regional Top 4 most recently, but Sacramento Regional Champion, Fresno Regional Champion, San Diego Regional Top 16. He is the Californian King. But here, he's all the way over in Baltimore, out of his home state and in unfamiliar territory. But familiar territory, having his team here up on the stage. It's Cresselia, Shadow Machamp, Drapion, Feraligatr, Clodsire, and Mandibuzz, all with pretty standard movesets.
Mandibuzz, we did not see a lot of them in day 2, but one of them has been brought by Elite. I don't know if he's been bringing that Mandibuzz much, but he's more been relying on that Shadow Drapion. wdage, the accolades speak for themselves. Pittsburgh Regional Champion, Columbus NAIC Senior Champion, Hartford Regional Champion, and Columbus NAIC Masters Champion. All his accolades say champion. He is, we mentioned, one of the most, if not the most decorated competitor in competitive Pokemon Go history, and this is his team. Chestnut, Dunsparce, Sludge Bomb Clodsire, Shadow, Powder Snow, Alolan Sandslash, and it looks like we actually don't have to wait any longer. We have a double lock-in winners finals here in Baltimore, Maryland. We have the Shadow Feraligatr for Elite, and from wdage, we have Dunsparce.
Let's take a look at the backlines, though. This Machamp is basically trapped here. What is it going to do against a Clodsire or an Azumarill? It's going to have to be the Cresselia putting in a shift here on the back end.
Hydro Cannon deployed at this Dunsparce. Dunsparce, if it is running a very high health stat, can actually win the 0-0, but we're going to see a switch out by Elite and a catch, catching that Drill Run, saving that Feraligatr, very, very healthy, and absorbing that energy onto that Cresselia. And now wdage switches out himself as in comes Clodsire.
I like what he's doing here, right? Because he's luring out the Clodsire, keeping that Machamp safe, and then once he's done that, Machamp versus Azumarill is, you know, it's not a great matchup, but it's playable. That's all that matters for Elite here. He just wants some way to use his Machamp, but even better, if he can flip the switch here, he might be able to align his Machamp onto that Dunsparce and then just Feraligatr onto the Azumarill.
Grass Knot connects onto that Clodsire. Clodsire has farmed up all of its energy, finally beginning to unleash some damage. Earthquake not going to be able to knock out Cresselia. Very, very bulky. Aggressive switch out by Elite. Going to be hit with a Sludge Bomb from this Clodsire. We've seen the pacing on Sludge Bomb be very clutch for these competitors. The no shield by Elite. Sludge Bomb will not KO. Will we see the switch out? No. Clodsire stays in and will be hit with the Hydro Cannon, and wdage chooses to let Clodsire go.
This is amazing farm down range for the Dunsparce. Can he get it in 3 rollouts? I don't think he needs 4. So it's going to be another Hydro Cannon reach. Oh, and a catch!
Oh, the catch! Oh, spanking all the energy, catching onto the Azumarill. Very nicely done by wdage. There is close to 2 Drill Runs stored, and Drill Run will do a lot to the potential Machamp in the back. Azumarill does get the bubble down, and back in comes Cresselia for Elite. Cresselia will have the pacing advantage with the residual energy, making it to the Grass Knot. wdage has to choose, where do I use my Protect Shields?
This is very difficult, right? Because he has 2 Drill Runs on that Dunsparce. And he's going to be able to bubble this Machamp into a range. I think, yeah, into a range where a Drill Run is going to take it out. Can he get to this move? He can't. Ice Beam's coming through from wdage. What do you do here if you're Elite? You might have to put it on the Machamp.
Are we going to see a 2-shield Shadow Machamp? Yes, we are. Trusting in the Shadow Machamp. Type disadvantage here, but every cross chop brings, every karate chop brings it closer to cross chop range. Ice Beam fired at the Machamp, and the immediate shield by Elite. This is what he was saving the shields for. He baited out the Clodsire, and now he trusts in Machamp to be his sweeper.
This is so difficult, right? Because you're going to need to get these baits off. Azumarill is going to shield the cross chop. He's going to bite the bait. And here it goes. Cross chop on the Azumarill. It's going to go shielded. Can Elite make it to that Stone Edge? He does! Oh my goodness, he's going to have to give up 2 shields here to get it done. But is Elite in Drill Run range?
I believe he should be. These bubbles continue to add up. Azumarill makes the Ice Beam. Ice Beam is going to potentially force the final shield, but when does wdage switch? Can Elite get this prediction correct? Does he go for the cross chop? He does! What a prediction! He denies all the energy with the cross chop. What a perfect prediction by Elite. He fires off the cross chop, denying the energy. In comes a 0EL, and this is going to be Shadow Machamp doing what it's done so many times on this stream, sweeping with 2 shields to hide behind.
Most of the teams this weekend haven't had a fighter, and if you're watching these games, Pangoro, Machamp are just sweeping teams left and right. You may need to reconsider your strategy going into Dortmund, going into Louisville. I hope we see more of these fighters, honestly, because this has been so much fun to watch.
That Shadow Machamp, that straight 4 pacing to a same type attack bonus cross chop is just unbelievable. And the perfect prediction, anticipating the combo play. If Elite had thrown even a single karate chop, that game was lost. wdage choosing to let the Claude Sire go as we move to the recap. wdage trying for the farm down, knows he can't get it, gets the catch, stores almost 2 drill runs. That is how much energy ended up being lost in this endgame, as Elite has to get the prediction right. If he doesn't click this move right here, he loses, but he predicts it. If you wait to see the switch, it's too late. We're already locked in for game number 2. Shadow Machamp into the other fighting type, Chestnut.
This is a really interesting matchup, right? Because Chestnut does get outpaced by the Machamp, but you can hang on to a cross chop actually and always force shields from the Machamp before anything happens.
Frenzy Plant shielded up. Shadow Machamp loves to hide behind these shields. wdage now in a position where can he survive this cross chop? Karate chop does not do a lot of damage. The threat of Shadow Machamp is how fast it gets to the cross chop. That does a lot of damage, going to potentially make a superpower, so Elite is forced to fire off energy, and wdage is going to try and force both shields from this matchup, if at all possible, making it to the Frenzy Plant, outpacing, and Elite has a difficult decision to make.
I would have honestly liked to see a superpower there, kind of limiting the farm that Elite's going to get, but he's actually going to let it go. What is he going to farm down? Oh my goodness. Feraligatr is about to go to town on this backline. Where is wdage going to go?
He's going to bring in the Claude Sire. Claude Sire, with the Vine Whips that landed, this could potentially mean that Sludge Bomb could threaten. Sludge Bomb, I don't think it quite knocks out from here, but it will do quite a lot. So wdage really has to try and rely on this Sludge Bomb pacing. But with that 3 Shadow Claw head start, this is going to be very, very close as to whether wdage is able to outpace. To outpace, he will have to use a Protect Shield.
Yep, Hydro Cannon is going to be thrown on the charge attack priority with, one right before actually. So I think you can shield here, go for the Sludge Bomb, but does Elite make the call? Does he catch onto the Cresselia? I think this is going to be crucial here. Does he predict it? Yes, he does! Sludge Bomb onto the Cresselia. Amazing catch from Elite here to basically secure himself in this game.
But he's now switch locked. And this Sand Slash is going to try and always have a drill run loaded. If you can always have a drill run loaded, that Feraligatr does not have a move banked. So if you can have a drill run loaded, then you can be in a pretty okay position to drill run once you see that Feraligatr switch in. If you throw a fast move, you're going to lose charge type priority. So this will be a very technical endgame and come down to reaction time as well. Drill run is going to connect onto this Cresselia, and wdage intentionally having that drill run ready to go in the background, and switch clock will be up very soon for Elite. When does Elite decide to make this switch in? Grassnot is going to connect onto the Alolan Sand Slash. wdage waits the switch in, and he gets the prediction right. wdage, he does it again. What an unbelievably fast reaction time. He waited, he threw a fast move, he tried everything he could to avoid Elite getting the Shadow Claw, and the prediction is perfect. What a play by wdage. Sensational gameplay as we equalize the series here in Baltimore.
Alolan Sand Slash was an absolute beast in the back end. Of course, when Feraligatr is already taking some Vine Whip damage, it is susceptible to being taken out by 1 drill run. So up a shield, the Alolan Sand Slash can actually threaten to take it out. Of course, Cresselia against Alolan Sand Slash, even though there's no Shadow Claw to be seen, it's still a very uphill struggle.
I am still at a bit of a loss for words. That game demonstrated the high level of gameplay we can expect. Elite going for a catch in this matchup, catching onto the Cresselia, but that meant that he was switch locked, and that allowed wdage to save that drill run. And then watch the hesitation here. He waits, sees he doesn't throw it, keeps throwing the switch into the Feraligatr, but wdage with the reaction time there, so good. And my goodness, this series is everything I could have hoped for, and we're only through 2 games.
The crazy thing is, Elite hasn't locked in yet. It's been about a minute, and if it took him that long to lock in, he is absolutely serious about this game number 3. Sandslash into Machamp! What is going on?
Disaster strikes for wdage. That's not what he was hoping to see. wdage is going to need to switch out of here. In comes Azumarill. Azumarill is going to be answered with the Cresselia. And this, even though alignment does not look good for wdage, energy advantage on Shadow Lul and Sandslash, if it can get shields down, could pave the way for Chestnut.
Right, because as soon as you get this Cresselia out, you can honestly farm all the way down with Shadow Lul and Sandslash. Even the Machamp, you can throw Karate Chop at it, but you're going to need to give him 2 shields to shield 2 Ice Punches. That's not going to be a good situation in the back end, because Feraligatr gets 1-hit KO. Machamp gets 1-hit KO, both by that Chestnut.
Yes, and that is where the danger of giving up shields and having 2 very glassy Shadow Pokemon could actually be a bit difficult. A potential counterplay for Elite, instead of just allowing the Cresselia to get fully Powder Snow down, could be to aggressively switch to Feraligatr, but Feraligatr into Chestnut means that Chestnut would again probably still be able to get an advantage. So, despite the 1 lead and swap, this does look a little bit tricky for Elite, as wdage is going to look to bring in that Alolan Sandslash, and that's what he's going to do. He brings in the Feraligatr. Feraligatr going to be answered with the Chestnut. That's the counterplay from Elite. He knew that he could not give the Sandslash farm, and this Chestnut is significantly behind on energy.
I'd argue that he took a little bit too long to switch out there, did 2 Powder Snows, then swapped out. That's going to let Elite to bait up to that Ice Beam, and now will Elite go for the Hydro Cannon? He does. Does wdage call? I think he's got to make that call here. He's got to make that judgment. He's not going to. This Hydro Cannon is going to get shielded up. Can Elite make it to another charge attack here?
This will be very close. He's going to try and get there, and does. wdage ended up not throwing a charge attack to try and maximize the Vine Whip damage, but the Hydro Cannon is reached, and now this can potentially put it into Karate Chop downrange for the Shadow Machamp. And Shadow Machamp, in comes the Cresselia, forcing the energy, and this is going to be Shadow Machamp sweeping in this endgame as the Alolan Sandslash just has no shields to hide behind. Double super effective fighting damage is going to spell disaster here.
Machamp is going to punch through this Chestnut, and I am so excited to see these Karate Chops go down on the Alolan Sandslash. Oh my goodness, this is so much damage for a not very heavy-hitting move. For reference, Karate Chop, I believe, does as much damage as like Powder Snow?
Yeah, it is. It is a move known for its energy generation, not its damage, and that is Shadow Machamp putting on a clinic. The farthest a fighter has gone in this meta is Shadow Machamp, and we are seeing why. Shadow Machamp, incredibly, incredibly powerful. That pacing is just undeniable as long as it can avoid Clodsire.
Yeah, Machamp is the furthest fighter in this tournament. Chestnut is literally in tears right now. Literally on the floor crying.
I forgot Chestnut's a fighter. No! Oh,
Very
my
hurtful
goodness.
things here.
Oh, no. I think of Chestnut as a grass type, but it's a fighter, too. But it is Vine Whip as the fast move. We have an instant lock-in from both battlers. They're ready to go back, and now it's wdage picking up the dominant lead. Shadow, Alolan Sandslash versus this Cresselia. Will we see a switch out? Yes, in comes Machamp, answered with the Azumarill, and switch advantage could be everything in this match. Shadow Machamp looking to connect with that Legacy Stone Edge. wdage ends up no shielding. This Stone Edge will land. Let's see the damage on the Azumarill, and
oh my
that
goodness,
makes a mark.
That is way more damage than should be legal, but Ice Beam comes down here. No need for the play rough. That's going to be overkill here. Here comes Ice Beam being shielded, and just reaches the Stone Edge way quicker. Is Machamp actually good against Azumarill? This is crazy.
Oh my goodness, he's going for a bait.
Criminal.
wdage is thinking about it. Does he call this bait? He's thinking about it. He does! He does! What a beautiful prediction by wdage!
Okay, this really puts him in the driver's seat now, because Elite's gonna have to give up both shields. Where do you go from here? Do you try to counter down? Do you need a cross chop? I'm so confused on what the strategy is gonna be here, because with no shields, that Chestnut is gonna have a field day.
Yes, and wdage realizes that the Machamp would make 3 cross chops before an Ice Beam was reached. You have to let the Azumarill go. You have to farm down with the Chestnut and try and avoid double cross chop being reached. Double cross chop is reached. However, he's gonna let the first one go. This will do a lot of damage. At the second one, it'll come very close to knocking out this Chestnut.
Does he opt to let it go and put on the Sand Slash? I love that play.
2-shield Alolan Sand Slash versus the world. The cross chop does not KO. We see a snipe with the Feraligatr. Aggressive gameplay by Elite. And now this Alolan Sand Slash has to try and 1v3, but the issue you're gonna have is there's still a Karate Chop that can land from the Machamp, and Cresselia will really appreciate all these Shadow Claws connecting, putting it closer and closer into a range where a potential double move can KO.
Wait, a Drill Run's not enough here. He's gonna have to give up both shields. Is it possible that Elite can still win this game? Drill Run connects with the Feraligatr. It's just not enough. Ice Punch is not ready, and here comes the Hydro Cannon. It's gonna be taking that last shield. I think that's in Moonblast Karate Chop range.
Elite looks to be in the driver's seat of this one from the moment he aggressively sniped that energy from that Chestnut, and now in comes Cresselia, and Cresselia, this is a bad matchup for it on paper, but Cresselia has going to be able to reach this Moonblast. All the energy in the world cannot save the Sand Slash. Moonblast into the Sand Slash, picks up the KO. Elite with the 3-1 victory advances to the grand finals here in Baltimore.